So what do you think about meeting Jack Ma soon?
No special feeling, I guess. Interesting to see what they're talking about.
Yeah. So we're waiting for giving a presentation on Learning Society here in this Blockbase of Davos. So how has the week been so far?
It's been an interesting mix of very meaningful objectives and an abundance of available resources. So I think the whole week has basically been about trying to figure out how these connect, bringing the big picture and the small picture together, and creating action.
Yeah. And what will happen after this?
So after this, we go into action.
Okay, yeah, that sounds good. Some more insights from Davos?
I think for the public sector, it's basically about realizing what role we play in the face of a overwhelming need for resources. We need to appreciate how these resources are mobilized, be it among citizens in our local communities, among social entrepreneurs, among impact investors, and how do we mobilize these resources in ways that are effective in terms of attainment of the SDGs and that are sustainable even from a social perspective, democratic perspective.
And the last session here today we had, can you tell a bit about that?
Yeah, we had a fellow Norwegian who is now heading the UN Ops, Grete. Yeah, and she is basically introducing a new way for the UN to bridge these resources. So connecting the public sector, public procurement work to impact investments and people who have deep knowledge of local space as well as deep knowledge of available solutions. And what has been missing, which Grete Farmo is bringing to the table as well, is basically finding mechanisms to build the trust necessary to allow for the flow of ideas and resources and policies to be drawn out for all these to connect.
And where are you now in the process in Trondheim? In this process with SDG Lab. We had this morning session now with the school and a municipality in Sweden, and what can you say about that? What's your assessment?
There's basically two ways of answering that. One has to do with the overall operating system of the city and how we do our planning and budgeting, because that has a huge bearing on what people end up doing and prioritizing in terms of incentives and results. But the other thing we're seeing right now, which is, I think, challenging for a lot of people, even within our own organization, is universalization of the SDGs. So this would typically have been the domain of specific specialist units within different organizations. And we're seeing now a spread into the SDGs. And I think this is opening up new opportunities for change in cities like Trondheim.
Okay, great. So let's walk around a little bit. It's lunchtime now, and hopefully Jack Ma will be here. And we have the very good opportunity to present Learning Society in the room. So this is also a big Chinese delegation here around.
opportunity that they wanted for obvious, and so how do you get to the point of being such a large cryptocurrency exchange?
I've actually brought tech companies into school in the last few years. So absolutely, yeah. It's funny that you bring that up because I was really just recently stunned at my 11-year-old daughter's writing skills, her essay writing skills. I was really shocked because in the span of 1 year, the cognitive explosion that's occurred is profound. And just how advanced convey them in writing.
Let me ask a question.
In the span of 1 year, it's like having gone from, baby talk
one thing that's talking about it being a helpful way of shifting capital into issues that address climate change. It's one way of doing that. I think there's a legitimate question of, is that essential? Is that critical? It seems like there's also other ways of shifting capital towards it. Casey made an interesting point that it encourages this more independent thinking mindset and more agency and from individuals rather than being beholden to nation states, which I don't see that as essential either. I think that they're potentially helpful contributors to achieving our shared future. So I'm interested in anyone who would like to comment on that question, and anyone who can propose anything where blockchain is essential. Not a nice to have, but a critical piece of achieving the shared future, or even any of the SDGs that we're talking about.
Well, one important aspect I would like to make here. You need to separate financial markets, which is the cryptocurrency market, from the technology behind it. Who needs 500 shitcoins worth dumping into the market? I don't need them, they don't help. One key feature of blockchain technology, which is still valid, I'm very, very confident that is a true enabler which will sustain make the life of many people better, that you can transfer value from A to B via a digital currency. But do you need their speculators in that market? Do you need your 500 coins, which serve primarily the same purpose? No, you don't need it. But there, beside the crypto, let's say, feature or crypto currency feature, there are many, many good aspects which will be making the world a better place. And smart contracts, digital identities. There are a lot of aspects which are so, let's say, cool, I need to say, and I can't see why people will see that not being sustainable. So just separate